Hello, welcome everyone. I am Levelup. I am the admin of this group. And I wanted to share something with you all because I was discussing this topic with one of my clients. And it's the importance of why one needs to fall in love with themselves and fall in love with themselves again and again when you are a single woman and or your desire is to move into becoming the fabulous wife. And a lot of times, as I've said many times, that this mantra of self-love and self-care is thrown around quite a bit, but it's become rather passé. It's become something that people are, I think, taking for granted. Sometimes it may be taken a little bit out of context, but self-love is such an individual and powerful internal journey that it can be all-encompassing. It can be an absolutely exquisite and wonderful experience when you travel the universe. And when I say universe, it means Y-O-U verse, because I have been saying for a good 10 years or more that I consider the internal world to be deeply connected to the external world in terms of the quantum field. And without getting too woo-woo and too extra here, what I mean by that is that we, as human beings, are only utilizing a very small portion of what we truly are worth and what we have been given in terms of our tools and skills, our consciousness. The power of our subconscious mind is really vast. It's expansive. It's amazing. It's limitless. The things that we can do. And as scientists begin to study more and more the brain and the power of the conscious and the subconscious mind, it just allows us to understand that the internal world that we have access to is extremely powerful, and it's a beautiful space to explore. It's a beautiful space to live within. And as you go within and turn your eyes inward, as you begin your self-development, hi Melinda, your self-development, your consciousness, your elevation of yourself, it is an absolutely exquisite experience. Thank you. To really experience yourself and the fullness of yourself, and to continue to grow into the best version of yourself. And so what does all this mean for this group, the Single Life to Fabulous Wife? What this means is that I am a firm believer that we create our own worlds, we create our own, experiences in life, and we attract to ourselves. And, oh, thank you. Yes, honey, I'm really dealing with the new thing is the white. Well, this is a pearlized. I don't mean to get off topic with this. Yeah, I love these. So the thing is that I want to impart today, I do in my groups as well as here in this group, as time goes on, that your journey from the single life to a fabulous wife is a journey of exquisite proportions. It means that as you go deeper in to your internal feminine world, as you go deeper into who and what makes you what you are, and as you begin to understand your pivotal and foundational role in the family as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a contributor to your community and to your society, that truly you are the hand that rocks the cradle. You are the wellspring and source of abundant energy. And whether you are being a resource to yourself, or whether you are being a resource to your husband, for instance, or to your children, everything is rooted in the foundation of who you really are. It's rooted in the foundation of your self-knowledge and your self-love. And I get extremely excited about not the superficial levels of self-love, but the true value of understanding, hi Deanna, the true value of understanding the power within that we haven't even tapped 1/10 or the surface of who we really are outside of this flesh. And it doesn't matter your spiritual or religious beliefs. You are more than what you are utilizing in this world. So how can we bring this to bear, and how can we bring this into the service of our transitioning from a single life to a fabulous wife? Well, that all is a foundation of self-discovery, the beauty of going within, going deep within, and exploring yourself, valuing yourself, observing yourself from a third person. When you're able to observe yourself and get out of your mind and realize that, you are more than your mind, you are more than your experiences, that you are more than your reaction to your experiences, but that the things that you do right here and now in the present sense can affect all of your experiences. It can affect what you attract into your life, and it can affect your family life. So when you become committed and become obsessed with discovering yourself and loving yourself and embracing yourself, and commit to a lifelong journey of, flowering, so to speak, it is a beautiful experience. And the reason why it's so important for us to focus on that here and now, if you are in this group and still single, it's important to focus on that. If you're in this group and you're married, it's important to focus on this, because as I say in my dating package, that this is 80% mental and 20% the rest. And it's not to discount the rest, but it's to help you to understand that the 80% mental requires that you understand that you are the CEO of your life. You are the directress, the creatress, that you have infinite abilities to affect your life in a very positive way. And in doing so, you are so valuable and so important that when you have children, or if you already have children, or when you have a mate, that everyone is dependent on you, and preferably not in a dysfunctional way, but they're dependent on you being your best you, not from a stressful point of view, not from an overwhelming point of view, but from the point of view that you are just that valuable. Your being who you are naturally, your natural essence as a woman, is so valuable that the world depends on stable, emotionally healthy, emotionally invested women to be themselves. And so journeying into the journey of self, the constant chasing the best version of yourself, not from a stressful point of view, again, because many times, so many of us approach life from a masculine point of view. And so it's kind of hard when we start saying chase yourself. Now we're thinking about a huge to-do list. We're thinking about all these things that we need to do. And yes, there is a to-do list, but it has to come from a seated, grounded position to say that, yes, I have a lot of things to do, but it's always me first. It's always from a position that I have to first come to know myself. I have to have compassion on myself. And then I have to get to a space where I learn myself from a point of view of self-love, and from a point of view of realizing that I'm only scratching the surface, and what an exciting journey it is to flower and develop more and more into the womanhood that I am. So when you are single and you are saying to yourself, I want to have a great relationship, I want to marry, I want to meet a healthy masculine individual, I have all of these goals for myself, for building family wealth, intergenerational wealth, and I want to waste no more time. So then the question is always not necessarily what you desire, but it's more so, who do you have to be in order to be in alignment with what you desire? And that is the critical question when you ask yourself, who do I have to be in order to align myself to that which I desire? Because what you desire is already out there. It's not like you're creating it in thin air. These are possibilities and potentials in your quantum field around you. It's a matter of, are you able to align yourself and direct your signal that you are radiating out into the world in such a way that is a frequency match to what's already out there in the quantum field and what's already out there for you. It's, are you a match? Are you truly aligned, not just in your words, but in your being and in your actions? And so, in doing so, the way in which we get there is through self-love. Oh yes, Melinda, and I know you go deep. I know you love this topic, and that's how you were able to, you know, attract what you've attracted into your life, because you discovered the beauty of going deeper into your womanhood. It is such a beautiful thing, but that requires putting yourself first. And this is something we say all the time, you know, put yourself first, blah, blah, blah. But there is an art and a science and a skill to putting yourself first, especially as a feminine being who is nurturing. It is very easy for us to go left and to go, or go right and go off track, because we want to be nurturing, we want to be there for others. And it's so easy for us as women to lose ourselves in the process, whether it's with the first child. We just go all in, and 2 months later, a year later, we realize, I don't even know who I am. I feel like I lost myself. But I think that for the young ladies who are still single, or the women who are my age and who are single, discover the fine art of putting yourself first without guilt. Putting yourself first and understanding that it is paramount to you being of service to the world is by your putting yourself first. And how do you still exist in the world and still be giving and nurturing while still putting yourself first? Well, that means that it's a level of becoming self-obsessed. And it's something that I often discuss, and I know that many people don't necessarily understand it from a superficial level. It's counterintuitive to what we've always learned as women, that we're supposed to put others first. We're supposed to, you can't be, self-consumed or self-centered, because that's a negative thing, that no one is supposed to be a self-centered person. But I always correct that, at least in my thinking and in my circle and in my communication, by saying, for me, once I crossed that bridge, self-centered became centered in self. So what that means is, when I say that I'm self-centered, I'm not saying it from the normal societal expectations of what that word means. When I say that I'm self-centered, it means that I am centered in self. It means that it's self first, and it's not from a negative or selfish point of view, but it's from having lived many decades putting others first and seeing myself as a martyr and pouring from an empty cup, living on steam, being completely exhausted, and accepting situations in my life that made me, even when I was married in the past, that I was still very much like a single mom doing it all. And a lot of us, because of the feminist education we've had and the expectations on women in this modern day, where there's this whole conversation about how a man can't afford to raise a family on his own. Meanwhile, there are millions of single mothers raising families on their own. So understanding that life, previous life of not being quote unquote self-centered, I saw what that got me. That got me exhaustion. It got me gaining weight. It got me depression. It got me just really feeling like life was not worth it, and I was pouring from an empty cup all the time. But when I decided to go self-centered, meaning centered in self, meaning self first, I realized that in everything that I did over the past several decades, no one was happy around me, including myself, and not my children, not my mate. And so there has to be a shift. So the shift is coming through a level of self-love and self-care. Why? Because it's not about just being this person who's got all these positive things to say about yourself when you're on online dating sites, when you are in person meeting people, when you're putting on a show per se, or putting on an act, but you don't really feel it and you don't live it in your day-to-day. Because what happens is, a lot of women, unfortunately, and that's just through our education, it's not necessarily our fault, but we've been taught to, send a representative of ourselves, as opposed to being so full in ourselves and being so in love with ourselves that we're more than happy to send ourselves first. So even in the dating arena, even when you're meeting people, you are who you say you are, and you're constantly evolving, you're constantly growing in your self-love, you're constantly becoming. You're constantly raising the bar in your life so that he understands that even after marriage, once you get into the married life and you get into the rigmarole of the day-to-day, who are you then? Are you easily able to lose yourself because you never had yourself and you were putting on a front? Or are you going to stay the course and continue on your path of constantly chasing the best version of yourself, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally? And that's why it's important to establish that now when you are single, so that you can take that into your married life and enhance your married life, not lose yourself in your married life, and also be the best version of yourself as much as possible, understanding that we all have bad days. And so that all, again, is a foundation of self-love. Creating a lifestyle and a culture around discovering and being excited about who you are as a person and as a beautiful, exquisite flower amongst many beautiful, exquisite flowers in a garden. But what is your specialty? What is your flavor? Who are you? Because you're the only you in this universe, or in terms of on this planet Earth, amongst billions and billions of people. You're the only you. You're the only combination that makes you who you are. That in and of itself makes you special and unique. So it's up to you to highlight your uniqueness, to discover your uniqueness, to enjoy it, to look forward to it, to make that your first priority in your life, even as you're dating, even as you are working, even as you're being a mother, but putting yourself first and the discovery of who you are first. It tends to make everything else much more vibrant, much more worth it. You tend to not become as exhausted. You're not as drained. You're saying, I know when to stop. I know when to rest. I know when to replenish myself. All of these things are so important to you as a single woman, because you got to carry that into your married life. Otherwise, you will end up creating a situation that you didn't expect. You will end up creating a situation that you weren't planning for. Because married life requires more growth, more learning of self, being able to understand the polarity of masculine versus feminine, so that you can maintain a beautiful, high communicative relationship with your spouse, and understanding that you have to have a relationship with yourself, you have to have a relationship with your spouse, but you also have to have a relationship with your relationship. So there are three entities, three entities in this. There's yourself, there's your spouse, and then there's your relationship. And all of those have to be nurtured. And all of them require a little bit different sauce, a little bit of different specialty in terms of how to do the dance of life, to do the dance of union with yourself, union with your spouse, and union with nurturing the relationship itself. And that's so hard to do if you haven't already built a lifestyle of understanding, what does that union with myself mean? What does that relationship with myself mean? What does self-love look like? What does compassion look like? What does unconditional love look like for myself? And if you have developed that, it's so much easier for you once you walk into a healthy relationship. And so that's part and parcel why I am gearing up for filming my next course, which is a pre-marriage preparatory course. That's super, super important, because it explains what is courting, what is vetting, how are you to position yourself within yourself? What are your expectations of marriage? What are your expectations of your spouse? What are your parenting expectations? It is a hugely comprehensive course that you can take into marriage. It's sort of like a premarital counseling, but not for couples, but for the individuals, so that you don't walk into this blind and hit a bunch of roadblocks that you didn't expect. But it's because you've already developed a culture of marriage within yourself first, before you actually get married, and even before you meet the man of your dreams. It takes you all the way through engagement, through self-care, during marriage preparation, the marriage itself, and how to position yourself directly after marriage, because it is a transition. It's a rites of passage, and you want to be a stable person. You want to be a person who's able to manage transitions successfully without falling apart, without all of a sudden, getting cold feet or wondering, what am I doing? And I wasn't planning for all of this. So it's really important. And that's why I wanted to share that, because I get so many questions in my inbox from women of all ages who want to be married, who are preparing to be married, who are dating, who are currently vetting, but they're wondering about how to create a successful marriage and what's the mindset involved in that. So I'm currently in the process of preparing to film for that. I'm still filming some bonus courses for the online dating package, which is really about your 80% mental, but now I'm going into the 20% physical part in that package. And these are bonuses because I did cover a lot of it in the original, but now we're moving into step 2. And so I'm really, really excited about that, but I just wanted to come in and say hello, give a shout out to Connie as my admin and moderator, and also welcome all the new members. I can't guarantee a schedule in terms of video because I am doing a lot of internal work going within, a lot of creation. I'm preparing my Airbnb home. I'm starting the decorations in my other home. Travel and things that are going on. I also homeschool my children. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I don't work in terms of outside work, but I have plenty of work internally, plus my own clients and my own business. And it's not to say that I am neglecting this group, but this group is really a transitional space to let you know about the projects and the programs that are available to you when you decide to invest in yourself, because I could not have gotten where I am now without physically, financially, and spiritually and emotionally investing in myself. So this group isn't just to be here just to give a bunch of, quotes and memes and a whole load of free information, but it's to encourage you to invest in yourself. Because once you invest in yourself, you have deposited a coin into the universal bank, so to speak, and the universe will truly give back to you what you put into it. And it's always saying yes. Even if it's saying yes to our dysfunction, it is always saying yes to us. So say yes to your growth, say yes to, your own elevation, and understanding that you've got to put in some. You've got to get yourself into a space where you understand that everything that's free ain't free and it ain't good for you. But if you invest in the right programs, whether it's mine or anyone else's, what's important is that you invest in yourself. Get the great advice and the insights that you might need, the things that you might be missing, and take it seriously if you really want to go from single life to fabulous wife. So we are here for you, but we still encourage you to get the help you need. And as I grow and elevate, of course, I share that with you all. And understanding that the premise of this group is traditional marriage, it's gender roles, it's not sugar babyism, it's not securing the bag because we consider ourselves the bag. And we consider that our bag, ourselves, is a bountiful, a bank that keeps on depositing into self and keeps on collecting and keeps on giving to others. So it's a give and take. So we don't promote sugar babyism here at all. And that's not how I got where I got. That's not where I got in terms of subscribing to the sugar baby life. And I have had a lot of inboxing and people expecting me. I'm not sure why this is so deeply popular right now, but I know it is popular, and I know that there are insights in terms of physical care and blah, blah, blah. But for a lasting marriage, sugar babyism isn't it. And it's definitely not how I got where I got. It required a lot of investment. It required a lot of healing of my feelings towards men, my feelings towards myself, my identity, my sense of self-worth, and thinking and truly believing that I am worthy of prosperity and worthy of love from a healthy, emotionally sane man who is family oriented from a marriage culture, but who is also prosperous, because I am not about marrying into poverty. That is not what we're saying here either, even though we are not promoting sugar babyism and all the stuff that's the, the rage right now. And so you will see a culling of the group. There are a lot in here that thought that this was going to be about some, popular Facebook secure the bag thing. That's not at all what we're here to do, because we are the bag. So securing ourselves is what we promote is learning yourself and knowing yourself and elevating yourself and healing yourself and loving yourself. But that's only so that you can partake of the best that this life has to offer. But certainly invest in yourself, ladies, because it's not ending. The goal is not just marriage, but the goal is successful, healthy marriage. And what that means is that you have to continuously build yourself. You have to continuously be so involved with yourself and obsessed with your own elevation and being the best that you have, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. So you want to enjoy the best today. And so that means that even in my marriage, just to close out, when I met my husband, I believe I was 205 pounds or so. And now I am closing in on 170. So that's 35 pounds I've lost inches, and a lot of it's after the marriage. And I already told him from the beginning during the courtship that I was very much fitness oriented and it was time for me to get myself together. I presented my best self even at 205 pounds, but that I knew that I was going to be transitioning into something better. So, losing weight, being completely obsessed with fitness, looking younger, feeling healthier. That's something that he knew walking in, that I valued myself. I saw myself as a high value woman who is constantly going to give myself the best, who expects the best out of him and expects the best out of myself. I'm not going to sit here selfishly and expect him to be this great man, and then I'm going to sit here and just be a selfish, bee per se, but know that I am constantly upping the bar for myself. And so I expect it of him as well. But he understands that he walked in knowing that this is a high value woman, that I need to step up to the plate to make sure that I'm constantly able to provide what she needs in order to do the best for herself. And so knowing that he is a giver, knowing that he is a nurturer from a male point of view, he is always there to support my goals. And so my losing weight, my feeling better, my looking better, I change my hair every week. He knows when he comes home, he has no idea who he's going to see when he comes home, because my hair color is different. The length is different. I've lost another pound. Waist is getting more and more snatched. I'm buying clothes that look, and he knows that he's got a woman who's walking around that city looking fabulous. This is not someone that he's going to come home and I'm looking like, a dump, or I am just, not expressing my feminine beauty and glory. Because to be honest, that's very, very serious in marriages. When a man sees that a woman's let herself go, that doesn't mean that he needs to cheat. It doesn't mean any of that. I'm simply saying men are visual. Men they get energized by being around a woman who cares for herself. A woman who is invested. Oops, sorry, you guys. See something here. A woman who is invested. Whoopsie, sorry. I just switched that. A woman who is invested in herself, and who's invested in just being the best possible version of herself. That's something that excites a man. That's something that makes him, feel like his wife it's just all encompassing for a man who truly loves you. If he understands that you are so about yourself, you're so involved in your own growth and your own evolution, you're always excited about, some idea that can enhance your life, whether it be from a spiritual, a mental, an emotional, or physical perspective, but that you are always just glowing and popping, and you're really, and not to say that you won't have bad days, but he understands that his investment is something that he can never create on his own. You are an exquisite being that is something that's really fulfilling and satisfying and exciting to be around. That is something that I would love to be around that person, so why wouldn't my husband love to be around that person? And I love being that type of person. So for me, for him to enjoy knowing that he chose well and that he chose a woman who really, is an inspiration to him, as an inspiration to his children, as inspiration to the household. Why we all get caught into the rat race of this lifestyle, that life is a bore, that life is just drudgery, that it's something we're just barely making our way through. That's where depression comes in. That's where weight gain comes in. That's where the spice of life is gone. But I'm very cognizant of my mortality. I don't have 500 years on this earth. Every day is a blessing. Every day is a gift. And I'm not going to squander it on sinking into mediocrity or sinking into the state of mind that everything sucks and, I'm just kind of making it through. I don't want to be in a relationship like that. I don't want to be in a relationship with myself like that, much less with my husband. So this is why I say, mastering your self-love, or the journey into self-love, is so important to you as either a single woman or a married woman, because life is just too exquisite and exciting not to feel good as much as possible and not to present the best version of yourself. So ladies, welcome to the group. Definitely, check out the packages if you need help. There is coaching available for you. Enjoy the posts, please. Let's keep it positive. We're not here to talk about, struggle love 50-50. We want to present the best visuals, present the best mindset, the best questions that we can possibly have in order to get ourselves to the next place. And I will see you all soon. I'll see you on the other side. All right, bye-bye.